Yeah, mental health as a creative person. That is, yeah, that's really interesting because I think that so much of who we are as creatives is just wrapped up in what you produce. I think it's something that's really important to think about is we've chosen this as a career because it was a passion. And I often think about how is it that a bad day at work actually ends up being like a bad day in life for myself as a creative. And I think the trick of it is to compartmentalize and create very clear boundaries of it's just work and then there's life. It does not define you, especially as a designer. We're doing work for, other people all the time. I think it's important not to internalize negative feedback or not succeeding with a creative pursuit as a reflection on who you are as a person. That all of a sudden it's something that's bad. It's really important to know that it's all iterative, and you take that feedback or you take those failures and you learn from it. It sounds cliche to say it, the more you try and fail, it's just about learning. It's not about failure. It's about you learn something from that and you move forward. And I think from a mental health perspective, it's like if you're actually failing a lot, you can actually start beating yourself up and start thinking like, well, I'm not a very good creative, which isn't very kind to yourself as a human being from a mental health perspective. Some of the best advice that I ever got in my career early on was I was working at an agency and we would pull very long hours and try to meet some, epic deadlines, as many other people do that work in an agency world. And a much more senior creative came up to me and he leaned over as I was just grinding through this deck that we had to create for a deadline that was within a couple days. And he said, hey, he's like, no babies will die. And that sounded, I'm like, what? I was like, that sounds so crazy. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, he's like, nothing's gonna, and he said, what I mean is nothing terrible is going to happen if you don't succeed at this. We're gonna go to the presentation, they're either gonna love it or they're gonna hate it, or there's gonna be something in between. And then what he asked me to do is just to give me perspective. And that's really what this is all about, is just backing up. He said, what was bothering you 6 months ago at work? And I talked about a project that, in a crazy deadline. He goes, yeah, but is that bothering you right now? I said, no. He goes, it's in the past. He goes, now what was bothering you a year before that? And I said, oh, well, actually, now I see where you're going with this. Yeah, I don't even think about that anymore. And he says, like, yeah, nobody else does. It's not a reflection of you as a person. No one says, hey, this thing that you're working on, it's great and it's amazing and people do celebrate it when it's great, but it's all ephemeral. And people tend to forget whether it's great, good, bad, or otherwise. And it shouldn't be something that you internalize and take it to heart as yourself. So I think that's really important we're multifaceted, multidimensional people. Is yes, you can define yourself as a creative, but I also think it's really important to focus in on other parts of your life that are special.